What about in terms of coordination? Is the U.S., with its large military presence, seen as the lead coordinator?
No.
Okay, so talk about who's coordinating. So I imagine that that's an important matter, because you can have help, but the way it's coordinated can also make a difference.
The good news is that over the last 10 days, we had the opening of the United Nations Security Council season, if you will, and then the General Assembly. And the Security Council entertained a resolution regarding Ebola, declaring it a national security threat for all the nations on the planet, and calling for a massive mobilization by countries. It was passed by the largest majority of any resolution in the history of the United Nations. 130 nations immediately signed to it. And the following day, Ban Ki-moon, the Secretary General of the UN, requested from the General Assembly the permission, if you will, to be essentially the leader of the whole response, and to create an office inside of the Secretary General's office here in New York that will be the command center for all the response for the region. And so what we have going on now is, yes, there are several different local commands. MSF has their local command post. The United States military has moved a major general from AFRICOM into Monrovia, where he has set up a command post for all our military operatives. The German government recently announced that 2,000 members of the German military have volunteered, and presumably they will also require a command structure. But ultimately, everything is being coordinated out of New York by United Nations headquarters.
How have the local authorities responded, whether it's the government in Liberia, the government in Sierra Leone, and Guinea in particular? I'm sure they're very welcoming of the help. Are they doing their part in your view, or do they pose sometimes impediments?
Well, I'm sure it comes as no surprise to most of your viewers that a lot of African states are very weak when it comes to actual governance, actually being able to respond to an emergency within the society. And that's even more the case if they're very poor, if they have a history of brutal civil war, and if there's a tremendous amount of inherent distrust within the population against governance, distrust based on years of civil war. In Liberia, the president has dismissed several cabinet members because they fled the country, abandoned their people. The leaders of all three countries were slow to appreciate the infectiousness of this virus. I don't think they can be blamed for that, though, because obviously WHO was telling them there was nothing to worry about. And most developing countries depend very heavily on what WHO tells them to do and the WHO assessment of the situation.